My name is Willie Bragg. Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. Just in case you noticed the little icon logo on the screen, I was having technical difficulties on the computer, so that explains why you see the avatar logo for the Willie Bragg Show instead of my usual handsome face. Ha ha ha. So anyway, how the hell are you all doing today? I hope every one of y'all had a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Any holiday of your choice, or you were just chilling and just relaxing. Hope that day that particular set of events worked out well for you all too. So anyway, yes, well, I have a Rumble account. I occasionally Rumble. It's just a little bit of just a little troublesome, but I do need to get back into rumbling again. So I am ready to rumble. How are you, Desert Mantis? Let's see. How are you, Miguel? I'm glad everybody seemingly is well. Let's see. Okay. Dr. Nick Rivera, I got your notification on Twitter today. Yeah, I don't call it X, as you know. So thank you for adding on to my Twitter account. And y'all can know you can see me if you don't hear me and see me streaming on YouTube and Twitch. You know that I'm always rambling on Twitter. I will not call it X. So the hell with Elon Musk. Let's see. Let's see here. What we got? Okay. Right. Okay, so let's get to the subject at hand. I think that's what we should do. And I want to talk about it may be considered a goofy phrase, but I consider myself a dirtbag leftist. I kind of got caught on to the phrase and like what it was all about. Kind of describes me. So there is a streamer named Hoots, and I wanted to comment on it before it becomes kind of passe. So what I wanted to do was take the video with Hoots discussing this phenomena, and I have quite a bit to say about it. So let me go ahead and Well, where the hell did it go? Oh my goodness. Hold on. Let me get to it. Okay. We will get to that video on hand just very, very shortly. So just give me a moment here. All right. Okay. All right. It's a commercial. I pay for the damn ad blocker. I still get ads anyway. Isn't that a ripoff? Okay. Here we go. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you the Hoots video. It's called Dirtbag Left, and she's got quite a bit to say about it. So do I. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and play that video, and I'll be commenting on her words. So, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on high speeds because I'm kind of budgeting for time today. So let me do that. We'll put on 1.25. There we go. Here we go.
Platform as any kind of a force for good.
Oh my goodness. Let's get back to the beginning. Get it back to the beginning.
Hey, folks.
No. Why am I that's not fair. That's not fair. Give me a moment here. This is not an endorsement of Joe Biden. Fuck him. Okay, here we go.
That is what Barack and I think about every day as we try to guide and protect our girls through the challenges of this unusual life in the spotlight. How we urge them to ignore those who question their father's citizenship or faith. How we insist that the hateful language they hear from public figures on TV does not represent the true spirit of this country. How we explain that when someone is cruel or acts like a bully, you don't stoop to their level. No, our motto is, when they go low, we go high.
I don't consider myself, and I don't believe I have ever been considered to be a part of the Dirtbag Left, but I'm certainly a little dirtbag adjacent. I've been known to be a little grimy. I don't pretend to be one of the thoughtful, civil, coastal elite style leftists or one of the Tumblr educated, cozy core to online leftists. I'm kind of mean, partial to shit posting, and have even indulged in the odd politically incorrect joke or two. Oh no, I sound like a British comedian about to do some weak stand-up. What I'm trying to say is I get the appeal of edgy humor with a political bent. I get the appeal of cyberbullying public figures who have expressed views antithetical to my political aims. I literally have a podcast that's mostly dedicated to mocking people who are too dead to fight back. I had an account perma-banned from Twitter for allegedly sending death threats to Matt Walsh and Tim Pool and Kaya Rajek. When they go low, I go to hell. But I think that there are some valid criticisms of crudeness and incivility as politic. And I think that largely that tactic is overplayed and has run its course. Hello, I'm Hoots. This is my channel. And today I want to talk about the politics of vulgarity.
Okay, so first of all, let's list every slur in English lexicon. Listen, I'm a slur anarchist. I don't really care.
Holy shit, you are such a little genderqueer.
I don't really want to do this. You people have like worms in your brain, honestly.
I mean, you're the one who can't answer.
The dirtbag left is a term coined by Amber Ali Frost to describe a political style that eschews civility and embraces vulgarity, popularized by a conglomeration of mostly left-leaning New York City podcasters in the mid-2010s. That's a lot of words just to say Chapo Trap House. Basically, in the mid-2010s, there was definitely a frustration that was beginning to be felt amongst younger progressives with the way that a lot of establishment Democrats and conservatives reacted to presidential candidate Donald J. Trump. There was this horror and disgust at his lack of decorum, his rudeness, his incivility, and that's all fine and good, but liberals were falling over themselves to congratulate Trump's conservative primary election rivals, whose ideological positions were virtually indistinguishable from Trump's. They just had better speechwriters and tailors. And
she's pretty much just giving you a summation, which I'm not going to disagree so far. What she had to say in describing the evolution of this movement. So I just wanted to go and interrupt and just say what she's saying so far. I don't take issue with, but she's not finished.
Arguably, that was their downfall, but I'm not really here to relitigate the 2016 election. It was kind of disgusting to see so many centrist libs championing the aesthetics of politeness and fairness over ideological substance. Sure, it's fucking embarrassing that now and forever I'll live in a country that had a reality star for a president, but the problem with Trump isn't that he's a rude boy. It's that he's a reactionary demagogue whose politics consist of fucking over everyone except his close circle of friends, like every other Republican. And the vast majority of Democrats.
Okay, again, so far so good, but she's not done.
He just acted like less of a dweeb while doing it. His crude candor and third grade vocabulary made him a clown, but it also made him popular. I've never known a person that could be both intentionally and unintentionally funny with such consistency. People related to him, even if they didn't like him. And a lot of the left took notice. Vulgarity could be strategy.
And that's true. That everything again she says it's true. I promise there's some substance and some comments that she makes that I will be disagreeing with. You just wait.
An article for Current Affairs from 2016 titled "The Necessity of Political Vulgarity," Amber Lee Frost defends vulgarity and japery as crucial rhetorical weapons that have long been used in the intellectual battles of our revolutionary history.
Vulgarity has always been employed in revolutionary rhetoric, perhaps most notably in the propaganda leading up to the French Revolution. The pamphleteers of France were all too happy to satirize and smear the upper class with the utmost malice. Clergy, royals, and anyone else in power were slandered and depicted visually in all manner of crass and farcical political cartoons. Of all the public figures subjected to such vicious derision and gossip, often highly inaccurate gossip at that, Marie Antoinette was singled out for especially inventive and vicious taunting. True to French tradition, the slanderous pamphlets, called libelles, were fond of wordplay. For the Austrian-born Antoinette, they coined Austrichienne, meaning Austrian bitch, but also resembling the French word for ostrich. Thus, layering a visual pun upon a verbal one artist actually portrayed Antoinette stroking a massive ostrich-like penis, complete with legs and a saddle. There are arguments to be made over who constitutes a valid target, but when crude obscenity is directed at figures of power, their prestige can be tarnished, even in the eyes of the most reverent of subjects. Caricature is designed to exaggerate and therefore make more noticeable people's central defining qualities, and can thus be illuminating even at its most indelicate.
Hey, Ben Stiller here.
I am so sorry about that. Okay.
In her essay, cites a political tradition of vulgarity that unites the French revolutionaries, Vietnam War protesters, the 1988 NWA track Fuck the Police, and the outrageous speeches of Donald J. Trump.
The depravity of the atrocious acts committed by the powerful far exceed the depravity of any swear words one could use to describe those acts. The death and brutality of Vietnam didn't just deserve an F word or two, but warranted every last curse that could be spoken by the human tongue. And as the 18th century French knew, monarchy is the real barbarity. It was the libellistes who were the true allies of the Enlightenment.
There's something almost John Waters about this that really appeals to me. Embracing vulgarity and filth, holding it up as a foil to the real trash, the injustice of systems that cloak their corruption and dereliction in politeness and civility. Épiter la bourgeoisie, as 19th century decadents would say. Shock the middle classes. But if you're like me, the Marie Antoinette example Frost focuses so heavily on in her essay may have raised a few questions. A Vietnam War protester wearing a jacket that says "fuck the draft" and Donald Trump calling for an outright Muslim ban instead of the obfuscating euphemisms preferred by other members of his party are improprieties that are still clear and direct political statements. Marie Antoinette stroking a massive penis shaped like an ostrich is less so. This is just misogyny, right? Someone realized that the words Austrian bitch sounded kind of like ostrich and also wanted to draw sexually explicit caricatures of Marie Antoinette. Satire requires clarity of purpose, and what are we trying to say here? That Marie Antoinette likes to ride big, thick cocks? Why are you making her sound so cool and relatable? She's just like me, for real, for real. Now, many people on the left, particularly those sympathetic to dirtbagist tactics, will claim that appealing to the misogynists and perverts who just wanted to call Marie Antoinette a bitch and see her stroking some dicks pushed said perverts over to the anti-monarchist cause. Come for the women-hating, stay for the politics, so to speak. And likely that was the case for some of the legalists and their readers. But some were definitely just there for the women-hating, right? Now, you may be thinking that from a tactical perspective, it doesn't really matter what someone's motivations are as long as they throw their support behind the just cause. And that is where my opinions diverge from those of my fellow scumbag socialists. I think it's fun to make fun of bad people, but I think when we're trying to wield mockery as a political weapon, it's at its sharpest and most deadly when we wield it in a way that centers our ideological goals. Otherwise, we run the risk of making our enemies look cool or funny, of giving them just cause to claim that they're being victimized.
No, I don't do that. I think that the term punch up is a little bit cliche, but I'm going to use it anyway. Using slurs, insults, mockery, what have you, to humiliate your political opponents, even if it kind of touches on politically taboo or politically sensitive issues, what have you, as long as the tactic works, is what it should matters. And not that I don't claim to be like the most rude, person in the world. I do have a victim. I do have a temper. I do have I'm foul mouthed as I can be. I have anger management issues, and I certainly throw the insults at those that deserve to be scrutinized and mocked and all of that. In fact, sometimes I feel like that's the only weapon we have right now, because the system is so rigged against us. And I feel like that's where there are people that wants to go and silence people. I mean, there are people out there. I've heard Nomiki Konst, for example, and she reminds me of Nomiki Konst, even though she doesn't look like her, calling for Joe Rogan, who I have disagreements with Joe Rogan, calling for him to be canceled. She wanted to mess with the algorithms of the Jimmy Dore show, so he's more shadow banned, sort of thing. And people like that, to me, those are the ones that serve the power of the right more than the people that they will point at, such as a Joe Rogan or a Jimmy Dore. And I just wanted to state that out. So let me go and let her continue.
Or even worse, we run the risk of shocking the middle classes becoming our primary objective. Scandalizing and challenging the woke orthodoxy that dominates leftist spaces becomes the priority over any previously held political goals. And in the very worst cases, irony gives way to bleak nihilism, and the desire to push back against politeness and civility transforms progressives into reactionaries.
I disagree. I absolutely disagree. It just depends on who's using the term reactionary. Again, when I hear Shank Uger use the term dirtbag degenerates, or I hear Sam Cedar refer to these people as the dumb left, that sort of slur that's being used, they're punching left, and because they want to go and play patty cake and play with the system, even though they may have issues with the way things are. Everybody's got their different tactics. There is a I'm not a Maoist, but what did Mao say when he was alive? Let 1,000 flowers bloom. In other words, whatever strategy works. And anyway, so I'll let her continue.
Hi, are you a fan of Bernie Sanders?
Yeah, I am.
What do you like about him?
That he's a socialist.
Why is socialism good?
Are you like I don't really want to do this. What is this for?
We're asking people why they like Bernie Sanders.
For InfoWars?
Yes, we are InfoWars.
I think he has a lot of integrity. I like his value system. I like what he stands for.
Exactly what values.
Eating the rich.
The rich. Well, are you aware that Bernie Sanders lives in a $3 million home?
No, I was not aware of that.
Yeah. And are you aware? I'm going to ask you something. So if they're about eating the rich, why do you think so many of the 1% support socialism?
Is that true?
It's very true.
Like who?
Well, for example, Venezuela, right? The majority of the country is currently eating rats while their politicians are drinking champagne on a daily basis.
But that's not the 1%.
The 1% of Venezuela.
I'm talking about America.
Well, I'm saying, since if Bernie Sanders were president, right, and he wanted to bring the same ideas as for socialism into this country, do you think that we would benefit?
Yeah.
But I just told you Venezuela's eating rats.
But I just want people to have health care, honey. I don't want
Well,
oh my god. You people have worms in your brain, honestly.
I can't believe I'm talking about this on my YouTube channel. Okay, so for the blessedly unaware, that InfoWars video is from the South by Southwest Film Festival in March of 2018. The woman in the sailor outfit is Masha Nekrasova, an indie actress who was promoting a film at South by Southwest. Bernie Sanders was slated to give a speech at the festival, so InfoWars sent reporter Ashton Whitty to find Bernie supporters to dunk on. It did not go well for Ashton Whitty, and the video went semi-viral, earning Dasha the nickname Sailor Socialism, and InfoWars ended up deleting the video. But Dasha uploaded it to her Twitter and Instagram accounts, and this is where it went.
Yeah, InfoWars took down the video, and then when they got made fun of because Dasha owned the hell out of the young InfoWars reporter, they had this, we weren't owned, we weren't humiliated. They put it right back up. So I remember when that was happening, and as far as that was concerned, that did launch her career politically. Doing with that interview from InfoWars, it kind of ironically launched her career. And Hoots just going to talk more about that.
In her interviews with Teen Vogue and a featured Speak Tonight with John Oliver. Did the first episode of her podcast, Red Scare, with her co-host, art critic Anna Kachin, 19 days after the original InfoWars video was uploaded, and Dasha tagged the podcast in the replies to her love. So the podcast grew big and fast. The show has boasted celebrity listeners like Chloe Sevigny, Elizabeth Olsen, and Lena Dunham, and guests like Slavoj Žižek, Angela Nagel, Tulsi Gabbard, and John Waters. Red Scare was one of the seminal Dirtbag Left podcasts. It was initially unabashedly socialist, unabashedly class reductionist, and unabashedly anti-woke. Anna and Dasha were and still are highly critical of the liberal white feminism that still dominates mainstreamism, and of identity politics, which they view through a narrow Marxist lens. Distraction from class consciousness and meaningful political change. They're also a pair of incredibly funny, overprivileged New York City mean girls. They're shitposters. Their vibe is best typified by a scandal over some of their old podcast merch. These are some shirts based on the ISIS flag. But if you zoom in, some of the calligraphy looks like the sexy women on the mud flaps of trucks, and the center text says Red Scare. It is provocative without actually saying anything, seemingly designed to trigger both the political right and the left, and something that you can only get away with if you're a skinny upper middle class white lady, and I want one so bad. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm kidding. And that was the initial appeal of Red.
I don't think she's kidding.
Scare as a safe space for urban, overeducated, middle-class white girls subsisting on precarity wages to explore a little transgressive comedy and express our frustrations about the center-right party that's meant to represent the left wing in this godforsaken country. Everything they say is cloaked in so many layers of irony that it's kind of difficult to parse what their actual opinions are, which is very funny for the first 10 minutes of your hour-long podcast. But the shtick quickly becomes fatiguing and sad. Because Anna and Dasha have positioned themselves in opposition to the liberal mainstream, they've mostly committed themselves to commenting on the same culture war nonsense and celebrity gossip that pads out segments on Fox News.
I understand what she's trying to say. And I'm sorry, I'm not saying a whole lot. I just wanted y'all to watch this video to see her perspective. And I'm just kind of passingly commenting on this. But as far as what she's talking about with the culture war nonsense and celebrity gossip that pass out segments on Fox News, they're taking they're weaponizing a right-wing tactic by basically, I mean, they may be temporarily punching at liberal allies, but these liberal allies that the Red Scare, for example, or Chapo Trap House, or Jimmy Dore, or Shoe on Head, or what have you, that they go and they punch at politically. You've got to remember that those who are being so super offended are to the right of these people, because these people, the mainstream shit lib types, they refuse to do what it's going to take to change the system the way it needs to be changed. Whether we're talking about the whole grand scheme of capitalism itself, or just trying to change the Democratic Party, which is a divorce issue, is so long gone. I'm so past trying to reform the Democratic Party. Just finding out that John Fetterman, basically took a shit on the progressives recently, is an indicator of such things. And the fact is that you're not really punching left. You're punching soft right. And I'm referring to the Dirtbag Left. When they go, these people, when they go and criticize those they're supposed to know better. I give you an example, with forced to vote. All those that favor forced to vote that were criticizing AOC and criticizing the Progressive Caucus and the Squad for not pressuring Nancy Pelosi to allowing a House floor on Medicare for all. They're when criticizing these people, they're punching right. I am not in solidarity with Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi just to be in solidarity with them and progressive values or socialist values or leftways, whatever you want to call it, comes next. I am not about that. Leftist values comes first and foremost. I'm not about civility with Democrats hoping that saying pretty please would just acquiesce to our demands. They're not listening to us. And that's why these people, the space has to exist. It is necessary to have a segment of the left that literally hold accountable these people who are just basically committed to doing nothing. And then we're called nihilists. We're not called... If we're nihilists, if we are, it's because, the goddamn center is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I'm referring to the center left.
They have become the reactionary of the nominal left. While they still signal support for
reactionary, says who?
Abortion, their politics have drifted more toward the new right. They've promoted vaccine misinformation instead of vacantist Catholicism. They hosted Alex Jones as a guest in November 2021 in a bid to rehabilitate his image after he was court-ordered to pay the families of Sandy Hook victims $1.5 billion in damages.
Look, I am not a fan of Alex Jones. I think Alex Jones mostly spews bullshit. He's correct on a couple of things. I'm not going to go and say next to Sean Hannity or Ben Shapiro, Alex Jones is capable of making a valid point once in a blue moon. Although very rare, but compared to the mainstream right, he is slightly cut above. That doesn't mean that I like Alex Jones. I passionately disagree with pretty much 95% of what Alex Jones has to say. And and I remember getting shit on when he got deplatformed in 2018. How glad progressives were to see him gone. And I'm not for deplatforming even a Sean Hannity type, but here's the thing: they think that Alex Jones is a bigger problem to the political discourse than, let's say, Sean Hannity, who basically rubber stamps everything that any Republican president comes up with, really more than anything else, rubber stamps anything that Mitch McConnell would come up with. I'm supposed to go and rejoice in his deplatforming. Let me tell you what happened as a result of that deplatforming on all of social media. And I've seen it happen to programs like the Combo Couch. If I'm correct, they're still demonetized. That's the kind of thing that's happened. They always get weaponized against the left every time.
They shit posted themselves so irony point that they actually opposed InfoWars for her. In a review of Red Scare for podcast.
I've heard that before. I've heard that InfoWar, that the gray zone is the InfoWars of the left. I've heard they said that about Jimmy Dore. I've even heard some people say that about the Basic Atheist.
Review.org, Sylvie McNamara.
I'm all for vulgarity that reveals vulgar truth. We should mock and demean our political puppeteers and their dupes if it bolsters progressive politics. I think it's fine, at least sometimes, to oppose the ineffectual piousness of mainstream liberalism, not through measured critique, but by modeling a rhetorical alternative. But Red Scare's transgressions obscure more than they reveal. Between petty violations of political correctness, the gayest, most R-worded thing ever is a metal concert with seats. Ironically, taking positions so aggressive as to be absurd. Maybe I should date an abusive man so I can get motivated to be thin. And misrepresenting basic facts, claiming that the Mueller investigation already cleared Trump of wrongdoing. The show collapses into meaningless offense, meant only to spit in the eye of anyone still foolish enough to care.
No, I kind of don't reach. I don't accept that. It's not that I'm even a watcher of the Red Scare. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen an episode. I mean, I'm not against the two co-hosts. I just never really seen an episode, but maybe bits and pieces, and that's about it. Like like other segments of social media. But the point is that you're making more to do with Anna and Dasha for criticizing civility politics than the fact that civility politics is a cover for keeping the status quo going. I at least need a little bit of dark humor and maybe some edginess to basically just relieve myself of the bullshit that exists in the status quo.
Recently, Anna and Dasha seem to have even abandoned their myopic brand of class consciousness for something more like political nihilism. They've descended so far down the shitposter rabbit hole that they've completely politically disengaged. Since about anything is cringe, so they kind of ticks of spite and sincerity. To me, Red Scare represents a pretty common disease on the shitposting left, when the dirtbag typology is centered rather than the leftist. When the desire to shock and provoke and trigger is prioritized over, having good politics, there's a disturbing regressive trend among nominally progressive online persons.
I probably am kind of guilty of what she just accused the co-hosts of Red Scare of, although I'm probably a little bit nicer than they are. And I, without apology, when I punch liberal against shit libs, I'm punching right. When I'm punching against the right wing, I'm punching right. Anytime I punch right. I don't punch left. I'm a tribalist. Even among a shit lib type like Sam Cedar. I cheered him on when he sneaked on the crowd, louder Crowder. Yeah, because Steven Crowder, and I'm going to use the misogynist word here, because Steven Crowder was too much of a pussy to debate Sam Cedar. That doesn't make me a fan of Sam Cedar saying this, but I am a tribalist enough that if they were to ever get in a formal debate, that it would be a foregone conclusion that Sam Cedar would beat the shit out of Steven Crowder. And I say that not being a fan of Sam Cedar. I have a lot of criticism of Sam Cedar, the way that he does, in fact, punch left. But when he punches right, good for him. Good for anybody that punches right.
Personalities. I'm thinking of edgy leftists like Vosh, who somehow always find a way to use their platforms to harass marginalized people. Like when he misunderstood Black nationalism and sent his thousands of followers to harass a much smaller creator and call her a white genocide enjoyer or whatever.
Bosch did not support force of vote. Bosch thinks that Joe Biden is the left. Bosch is basically a shit lib that decorates himself as some edgelord streamer leftist that really argues for the status quo. And he knows how to mimic himself well, package himself well, and articulate his talking points. But honestly, I don't, what criticisms she has of Bosch, my criticism of Bosch is more valid.
Or when he used J.K. Rowling's trans misogyny as an excuse to promote just general misogyny, I guess.
Look, Bosch, I am totally on Bosch's side when it comes to his Twitter battle with J.K. Rowling. 100%. I was on his side when he and Anna Kasparian were arguing over the issue of trans, because the trans issue, because I support trans rights, and here's the thing: Bosch was correct to point out at birthing person Anna Kasparian, and he was correct to call out on J.K. Rowling with their transphobia. And it's not that I'm like one of those that will cancel somebody out if they have a certain reactionary viewpoint. I certainly am not going to respect somebody's reactionary politics, but the point is that she's criticizing Bosch in areas where Bosch does come out ahead, and occasionally I do agree with Bosch. I agree with him when he defends Shoe on Head. I don't agree with Bosch when he punches at even though I'm not a tanky, punches at certain people who are tankies, or punches at the gray zone, or punches at Jimmy Dore or whomever. When he's doing that, he's punching left to basically placate to the softer mainstream right, which I would say are called establishment Democrats.
Women be quieter and start apologizing more. That is such a wild take, Ian. Have you met women? I apologized to my couch when I stubbed my toe on it. I'm thinking of Keffels, who apparently grew tired of ratioing transphobes and decided instead to use her platform to harass feminist Asian writer Rosalind Toulousan for 2 entire years. Noodles are tasty has become a rallying cry similar to ethics and video game journalism, an alibi for a harassment campaign that has become a meme unto itself. This isn't activism. This is just a racist waste of time. Which, to be fair, is a pretty accurate description of Clara's body of work. But this kind of boring reactionary trolling is not worthy of anyone's time or attention, and certainly not anyone who claims to be aligned with the left. If you're someone who considers,
well, I'm not anti-Keffels. I'm not pro-Keffels. I watch her show sometimes. She's interesting, I will admit, because of out of the movement that she came from. She was a recovering Marxist-Leninist and all of that, and when the Vanguard boys, when they're making fun of her, just like gosh, let her tell her story, But I mean, as far as I mean, I watch her program occasionally, but I just kind of started watching. So I don't know what to make of Keffels, whether I am to like Keffels or not. She seems like a decent person. She said things that I agree with. She said things that I disagree with. So I'm kind of on the fence over Keffels at the moment. But I will let Hoots continue. And what I will probably do is I'll cut this video short because I have to go to work in a few minutes. But
Consistently uses your platform to torment.
I will let her finish, and then I'll have my concluding thoughts.
Marginalized people, I don't really think you're doing leftism, no matter how much you want universal health care and a livable minimum wage. But I've noticed that a lot of people who see themselves as politically incorrect leftists fall into this trap. Saying something outrageous or feuding with someone that your average anime avatar anon thinks is cringe gets you a lot of attention. And we all love attention. But if you aren't careful, vulgarity can sour and become cruelty. And the political weapon of crudeness becomes a blunted cudgel wielded even against our allies. Now,
I don't have a problem with cruelty to those that deserve to be smacked around with cruelty. Again, when I hear the absurd crap that comes out of the Young Turks sometimes, or come out of David Pakman or Sam Cedar, and unfortunately lately Kyle Kalinske. Unfortunately, he's turned into Eminem meets the Rational National. I miss the old Kyle Kalinske. I wish that he will come back wherever he's at, because obviously when he dyed his hair blonde, he changed completely, and he's mimicking shit livery talking points. I don't hate Kyle, but I am very disappointed in the direction of Kyle Kalinske.
Now, anti-identitarian leftists will say that pandering to marginalized groups is weakening the left, that the woke scolds are off-putting to the white working class who would be on board with our project were it not for all these uppity insert marginalized identity heroes. But I'm the white working class. And sure, maybe now I live in a major city that skews more liberal and that has influenced my worldview, but I grew up in Florida, in a county named after a Civil War general that votes overwhelmingly Republican every single election season. I've never set foot in a gender studies classroom. I mean, I've never set foot in a coal mine either, but I think that by most anti-identitarian metrics, I should be fairly representative of this imagined white working class. And
I know what she's getting at. She's getting at what sometimes seems like race neutral folks within certain sections of the left era. There's oh, you're just a bunch of class reductionists and all of that. And sometimes, I'm going to say it when it comes to the term class reductionist. If you're leftist, no matter how shitly you are, no matter how dirtbag left you are, no matter what flavor of leftism you find yourself on, if you're really on the left, no matter how pro-identity politics you are or what have you, the fact that you favor abolishing poverty makes you, me, and all of us class reductionists. And there's nothing in itself wrong with class reductionism, except maybe when that's all you rely on. I don't consider myself 100% class reductionist. I'm probably more class reductionist than many leftists. But I am, at the same time, I made it real clear that I am 100% opposed to racism. I'm 100% opposed to misogyny. I am 100% opposed to homophobia and transphobia and all these bigotries that exist, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, the hardcore anti-immigration attitudes that exist among reactionaries in this country. It is to be mocked and all of that sort of thing. At the same time, when I take it from somebody who used to be in a union job, and unfortunately, I'm going to go and engage in some misogyny right now with a politically incorrect phrase, but a term, using a politically incorrect term. But my coworkers at the USCW Local 204 were too pussy to go and strike. But here's the thing: you take something like a strike, you're not going to sit there and ask what their political positions are. You're going to be in solidarity with people on a strike, and union membership consists of all kinds of ideologies. And I think that there's a notion among the right that there is, like, if you're in a union setting, everybody's like totally politically correct and woke and all of that. It's not the case. But anyway, as far as this, a picket line is concerned, you don't want anybody to cross that picket line, because you want to get your living wage, you want your health care, you want your pension, you want your vacation time, things that motivates you to go to work. Not and what motivates me to go to work is not some manager or some, or the company itself concerned with the profit line. My concern is, when I go there, is to make it through 8 hours with as little stress as possible, and to get a living wage out of it. That's all I care about. Because I have a different view than most people when it comes to the economy. The economy is supposed to serve the needs of the people. We're not supposed to serve the needs of the economy. And unfortunately, with our gilded style capitalism, that's exactly what's happened. If you want to watch the rest of this video, Hoots, I have the link to the channel. Wanted to tell this whole notion about what they mean by the dirtbag left and my take on it. So, yeah, I agree. And all in all, Desert Mantras, I do agree that she is very uninteresting. I will agree with that. So anyway, I am probably going to let's take a look here at the chat line and all that. We're talking about food here a little bit. Okay. All right. Right. Yeah, she's not very interesting. I do agree. And I happened to find her just online, just happened to pop up on one of my feeds, just out of random. So that's what happened right there. And anyway, it's, as far as I'm concerned, someone like Hoots, I don't take her seriously. She's very self-righteous. She wanted to find something to be self-righteous about, obviously. So that's what it comes down to. So anyway, what else am I going to say? I'm about ready to head on to work, which I really don't want to do, but it is what it is. And that's what reality, that's the reality and all of that. So anyway, I want to say is, before I go, I'll probably stream one more time throughout the week prior to Friday. But until then, I'm just going to just try to make it through another day. On Friday, Jimmy and I will be back with Braglands. So if you get a chance, be sure to drop by the Braglands MySpace YouTube channel and subscribe to that channel. We're going to do something like a best of for the year of 2023. That's what we're planning to do. So we'll be back on Friday from our hiatus and all of that. So until next time, let me just go and say that to always reject capitalism. So if you like what you heard, please press like and comment. If you disagree with what I have to say, feel free to share the content on this channel. As the First Amendment, I believe this is my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are, in fact, the muck pickers of our time. Also, remember to basically reject capitalism, free Julian Assange, free Palestine, and to find an alternative to mainstream media narratives. So in other words, always support as much independent media as possible. I'm Willie Bragg. I will talk to you soon. I have to head on to work. Obviously, you can tell I'm a little sleepy, as usual. Take care. Bye-bye.